Salam
Assalamualaikum,
alaikum, Barakah
Barakah
babes.
babes.
Salam alaikum, Barakah babes, and welcome back to another episode of Brownstone and Barakah. And today's topic will be culture versus Deen. And today we're diving deep into topics that many of us live on a daily basis, but we don't really speak about like frequently.
Especially in our homes, masjids, family WhatsApp groups, you name it. This is a bunch of, cultural clash with religion. I feel like this is definitely one of the most highly requested topics
Yeah.
amongst like everyone who has given us some suggestions on what we should talk about. So we're gonna dive deep into it.
And today to help us with this topic, we brought three beautiful, beautiful guests, Abibatou from Senegal, Nunu from Ghana, and then we have Loua from Guinea. And they'll all be sharing their life experiences, family realities, and spiritual insights, especially on topics like spiritual healing, cultural weddings, gender double standards, and much, much more. So we're gonna dive into
I'm
it.
excited.
Yeah. This is our second episode, I guess, guys. So yeah. Okay, so we have basically the way like this episode is gonna go down. We have like literally a bunch of topics just sitting here. We're just gonna like do a free for all. Like Amelia will pick some, I'll pick some, and we just like go through with it. And I did send all the guests like anything the sheets as well. So if there's any other topics you guys are passionate about speaking about first, by all means, just let me know. But just I feel like we should start strong, right?
Yeah, we should. We really should.
Okay, so let's pick topic number six, the white sheet set.
See.
And for y'all who may not know what the white sheet is, basically like when you get married, it's basically like a little way for people to like they do in Africa to like prove virginity after the wedding night. And in my opinion, it's really humiliating. Like I think it's just like
And misogynistic, very
really.
misogynistic.
But yeah, we can dive let the open the floor up to the guests and whoever wants to speak first on this topic can go. Period.
Don't be shy, y'all.
Yeah. Hear you well. Walaikum salam.
My name is Nunu, and to touch a little bit on this topic, I feel strongly like I disagree with this whole thing just to start with because at the end of the day, a marriage is written in Islam. So if Allah allowed two couples to get married, He knew both of their intentions. So to do the whole virginity test to me is very unnecessary because at the end of the day, the marriage was already written. So like what is our auntie's business with knowing if the girl was a virgin or not? And I feel like our fathers didn't really speak up about it, even though they knew it was wrong because they're used to getting shut down and they're not used to seeing their parents speak up about certain things. But that's when our generation comes in to stop all of this because at the end of the day, like it's not right in our culture. I mean, our deen doesn't allow it. So why do we have to let it keep happening?
Not gonna lie,
You
you
clocked
clocked it.
it.
And what you said is so true. With our generation, we should be able to, like stop doing stuff like that. But also, I want to say it's crazy how they use the white sheet in order to make sure like the woman bleeds to tell like if she was a virgin or not. But like we can break our hymen doing literally anything.
Literally riding a
Riding a
bike,
bike,
all of that.
it's like it could just happen on its own. And so I feel like for them to think that a woman bleeding proves that she didn't commit zina before marriage is crazy to me. And in my head, I'm just like, yeah, I don't have anything like this for men, but it's only for women. And on top of that, you bring it to her family to tell her if she whether she was a virgin or not. That's just so humiliating, like Fema said, and like yeah, that's crazy.
And I think we could also like play this back to like double gender double standards. Men could literally do anything. Men could sleep around, do this, that, and the third, but we will never know. But like, why do women have the pressure of doing a white sheet test? Like, isn't it, the crazy part about it is like literally the night of the marriage. You can't even enjoy a marriage. You're so stressed and worried about the white sheet test. And whole time you could be a virgin, but like Amelia said, anything can break a hymen. You writing a make or break a hymen. So let's say and I know stories back home of girls who literally were virgins, but they just didn't. They not everybody bleeds, and I think that's a biological thing. Not everybody bleeds. They did not bleed. They got shunned. They were forced to get divorced. It was just embarrassing. And like not even that, I feel like a lot of families as well back in home, because I'm from Malian. They take that and let's say for example, like you're my daughter and you're like I guess you don't pass the white blood sheet test. Like it's like they'll take that and be like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed as your mother. Like I'm embarrassed. Everybody's talking about me. Like you just like you deserve to get disowned. Like you just make it like you're making my lineage really look bad. Like it's just really degrading. I really think it's just degrading inside, and I feel like it's so common in West Africa, and I feel like it's really something that needs to be like stopped. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to jump in because honestly, you said everything. Like, when it comes to the white sheet test itself, the reason why it came about in the first place is because there is so much placed on a woman when it comes to her dignity and her honor. And the white sheet test brought it was, came about because they wanted to kind of use the woman being a virgin on her night of her marriage as a way to honor her. Like, oh, she's been pure, she's been protected, like, she didn't, run out in these streets doing whatever, failing to realize that, like you said, you can break your hymen doing anything. Some women are born without hymens. Like, And it kind of also shuts down the idea about people being literal victims of SA and sorry, people being literal victims of SA or going through things that, to that extent in their youth and dishonoring them because of the fact that they didn't bleed. And moreover, on top of that, it's literally haram. It is completely haram. In Islam, you are literally not allowed to disclose what happens the first night between you and your husband. That's completely haram. So the fact that, and I know in I'm Senegalese, so in my culture, it happens a lot where they, you're basically what happens is you are taken to your husband's house and then your father's sister is the one that sleeps outside of the bedroom door, waiting for in the morning for you to for your husband to give her the white sheet with blood on it. It's gotten to the point where some people like they some couples they actually cut themselves or anything just to put blood on the sheet just to make it just to protect their own honor. Like why do we have to get to that point? And subhanallah, like after they're given the white sheet, which actually I learned that it's actually not just West African cultures that do it, but there's other South Asian cultures that also kind of like celebrate this white sheet test. And bringing it back to West Africa though, they would take the white sheet, they would display it for everyone else to see, and they would literally turn it into, in Wolof we call it laban, which is a party celebrating the woman being a virgin, where she's given gold, she's given all these things just to, celebrate her for being a virgin, quote unquote. And honestly, like I could go on for days with this, but this
Girl, go on for days. We
Make
here.
it
is
happen. Let's do
something
it.
that needs to be abolished completely. It's un-Islamic, it's disgusting. It's like it just everything wrong. Like it's everything wrong with this white sheet test. And um I do know that like nowadays they in Senegal they usually complain like, oh, there's nobody that does Laban anymore. I don't know why it's a complaint. It shouldn't be done anymore. And with regards to like our fathers not saying anything, I feel like it gets to the point where I know we're gonna get into it deeper in this conversation, but the idea of like, um culture is culture. We can't not do this because our forefathers did it and X, Y, and Z. But if it's displeasing Allah, you're gonna take what our forefathers said before Allah? Are you well? If
Nah.
Clock
Literally,
it. Oh my
real
God.
talk. That's so real.
like at the end of the day, like it just all boils down to that. Like you want to talk about, oh, our ancestors did this, our ancestors did that. There's things that our ancestors did that we shouldn't do anymore because Islam came to us for a reason, to not do these things. So that's my little 2 cents on this white sheet situation.
My
That's
God,
so.
just you
Oh,
clocked everything. And I just wanted to piggyback off what you said with the whole like, are you gonna disobey Deen just to follow your culture? Like culture is really, really important. Like I love my culture and everything, but there is a lot of things that I've realized now growing up that it's so wrong. And I feel like our parents, they love culture so much and we love that for them. But I feel like they put Deen so behind. If my parents or like just like my community in general made me feel the same way I feel about Deen, I promise you I would have loved Islam just like I love Islam now. Because I just like how they implied culture and tradition and everything on us to love it. If they did the same with Dean, I promise you, we would love it and like everything would be so perfect. And the whole thing was like, oh, girl, like some girls don't have highness, like you said, and that prevents a lot of girls from like trying to like ride a bike, trying to do things that other men do. And that goes back to the whole double standard thing of like, oh, men could do this, but women can't do this. In reality, Islam teaches that women and men are both equal, and if anything, women like are supposed to be encouraged to do certain things because like women are like viewed as high in Islam, but culture makes women look so low, and it's like I hate it so much. Like our girls shouldn't feel ashamed to want to ride a bike or want to learn how to do this or that. But I love that girls nowadays are like trying to break out of that like standard and all of that and trying to do more. But I just wish our girls could like also put that breaking the culture into learning more about the Deen and wanting to fall in love more with the Deen. Because once you fall in love with the Deen, it's like so beautiful.
I agree. And I wanted to touch up on. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
Yes.
we
you.
can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to touch up on the culture thing that you have said. I feel like, I don't know, I know all West Africans are deeply rooted in culture, but when it comes to like Guineans, and I'm going to talk about Fulanis specifically, I feel like culture has been something that's more important nowadays than religion because I don't know, once again, if like you guys' culture does this, but when it comes to superstitions, and we all know superstitions are haram, like, I'm sorry, superstitions are so haram. But my people, they literally would take a superstition over the word of Allah. And one time I remember I told like my father about it, and then he was like you said earlier, the forefathers have did it. He was like, it's something that the family has been doing for so long. But I feel like just because something that has been done for so long, that does not mean you have to continue to do it. Like, why are you raising your kids on superstitions or culture rather than Islam? And that's what makes us grow up in Islam and having to discover it on our own.
Okay, I deeply, deeply agree. And I feel like honestly, like that whole picking culture over a Dean thing, like I feel like it's not like not even on like Abibatou said like earlier, Asians do it as well. I did not know that as well. Like I didn't know like Asians do like the white shit thing as well. I feel like the whole picking, or because it's been practiced down the line, does not make it or overrule it over Islam. At the end of the day, we're Muslims before we're African. We're Muslims before we're anything. At the end of the day, in the eyes of Allah, we're still gonna be Muslim. So I feel like also to piggyback also on what Nunu said about how Islam holds both genders accountable. I feel like a lot of people don't really see that. I feel like, especially if you go on TikTok, if you see like a girl or like a regular Muslim girl, she'll get so much backlash. But like if you see a man doing the same thing, they'll turn the other eye. And I feel like Islam both holds genders accountable. And but that's in terms of modesty, behavior, and like both prayer. They're obligated obligatory for everybody. So don't feel like checking whether the girl is a virgin, but not the man. I feel like that's honestly just like it just doesn't make sense. I feel like as you if you really sit back and look back at the culture thing, growing up, you're like, oh my god, that's normal, this, that, and the third. But as you really like get locked in more with your deen, you know, it's like a lot of stuff just simply does not make sense, and it's just like unlawful if you think about it in the eyes of Islam. Like,
And another thing I wanted to point out that Lua said as well, like they grow up, they're used to like from generation to generation, with the superstitions. First of all, that's shirk. We know that's like the biggest sin in Islam, also the sin that Allah does not forgive, because you're basically putting an object or something else has more power than over him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I remember, cause okay, so I don't know if you guys know, but I'm Moroccan, so there's this thing called khamsa. It's like the evil eye necklace. It looks like the number five. That's what it means in Arabic. And I remember like I think my father has shown me a picture and it was like a necklace of it and I asked him I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's evil eye, like it's normal in the culture." And I remember going to Morocco, like lots of the architecture they have the khamsa on it. And I'm like, this is literally shirk. Y'all are incorporating shirk into your culture. Like, what do you mean evil eye is gonna protect you and this and that? Like that's literally shirk. And I had a whole conversation about it with him and he understood, thankfully. But like amongst his whole family and stuff, like you'll see it in the houses and all that. Even on my mom's side as well. And like Ecuadorians, they have like evil eye stuff, and it's just crazy to me. Like you guys normal, like in the culture, it's normalized, but you're a predominantly Muslim country. You know what I mean? And it kind of scares me a little bit. So yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that we did touch on like the evil eye and like believing in like spiritual stuff because I feel like the next topic will be about marabouts and spiritual like potions and baths. I don't know about your country, but Mali like marabouts is like really really common. Like I feel like for any small little inconvenience, they love going to marabouts. They love like doing going resorting to voodoo, and like even like it's like it kind of confuses me because like y'all know y'all can pray in McDuà, right? But like y'all don't do that. Like y'all just go to marabouts. But like because like I said, I'll open the floor again for y'all talk about that. Marabouts and like basically how they're often viewed as religion, like religious like figures in like certain cultures. The use of water, potions, and other like blessed items.
Yes, when it comes to the whole thing with like marabouts, I know in Senegal we call them sittings. And like you said, they're often seen as like religious leaders or like healers or some people with like, spiritual access and stuff like that. And like you said, bro, the smallest inconvenience, they're gonna go to go get some blessed water, some fertility treatment. Like they go for fertility treatments, protection from, like you said, evil eye, jinn, like and jinn possession, envy and stuff like that. But this is all like shirk and its children, shirk and whatever shirk gives birth to, because like you said, now it comes to a point where people start relying on them making dua, like to like not necessarily dua, but like making prayers and sacrifices to them instead of Allah, using mysterious symbols like those incantations or unknown, sorry for the traffic in the background, like the unknown verses, or like what looks like Arabic but it's not Arabic. And they start charging people to heal them without using like the Quran or the Sunnah, nothing based in the Quran or the Sunnah. And they're claiming to see the unseen or knowing the future. That's all impermissible. Very much impermissible. And it is something that is a huge problem in our culture, especially in Senegal. I see it as a big problem where people even say that in Wolof they say nit ñi gëmatuñu yàlla sëriñ yi lañ gëm, which means they no longer believe in Allah, they believe in their marabouts. Like, and that is such a sad thing to 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 think about, to live through, because at the end of the day, if you need help, if you are struggling, there's nothing that Allah places on his slave that he cannot get through. Everything that Allah allows to happen, he allows to happen because he knows that there's something that's going to be able to cure it, because Allah has created the cure to all things. But when you start relying on something else that is besides Allah, no matter what, and you see this in Senegalese shows, you see this in the Malian shows, I be watching my Malian shows too, but you be seeing it in all these shows. Anytime somebody goes to a sitting or a marabout, whatever type of gris or ligue or anything that they use to kind of gain that success, this life will not end until it turns back on them. And we see that time and time and time and time again. They go to these marabouts for these temporary solutions, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above all of them and will literally eat them back, like, at the end of the day. Like, I'm gonna let other people take the floor because I could go off.
As you should, but I want to touch up on what you said, like, because again, in my culture, when it comes to like, okay, oh my God, there's this one thing I really want to say, and I don't know if it's just Fulanis that do this, but like when it comes to like cursing people, like I feel like parents raising their kids on like saying, oh, if you do this thing, just know if you do this, your life is gonna end up this way. Like just raising them out of fear, like I don't know how to explain that because it's just something that's so normalized to me and my family. That's like, for example, they would say like the oldest sister of like the dad, quote unquote, like if you have an argument with them or like just any disagreement with them and you retaliate or something, like your life is just gonna be bad. Just off of the fact, even if they're wrong. So I'm just like, I don't know, like I really need somebody to explain that to me. Like
Um, I don't know how I could like explain it to you for you to understand, but in my understanding of it is like in culture is like okay, you have to in religion and culture you do have to respect your parents. Parents are like your number one priorities, but in culture they like violate that rule very much. Like sorry. So in culture, it's like okay, the whole cursing, like your life is gonna end up bad. You're gonna end up on the streets. It's like to insert fear into the child, and that's the parents' fear of like, okay, my child is gonna go embarrass me. Like I feel like with our parents, they don't really like they care about us as much, but they care about what other people have to say, what our aunties have to say, more than like believing in what they believe in. So it's like most of the things that they do it's like I don't want you to ruin our family name. I don't want you to disrespect me because other people are gonna feel this way. Instead of just following their like own beliefs and following their own rules that would work for their household, they insert this fear of you, and like that they don't realize how that affects us very much because then that's just gonna make us feel like oh. I can't even talk to my mom about this because at the end of the day, she's gonna see it as disrespect, and that's only because oh, always gonna say, look how this girl is talking to her mom, asking her questions. And that goes into the whole fact that you could have asked your parents like why they curse us and why they did all this, but like you have this fear inside of you of thinking that they would think that is disrespectful. And to touch a little bit about the whole shirk and stuff, in household culture, there's this thing called the boka where they go and they mostly do this when their husband is about to get a second wife. And it's like they go to him and they're like, can you not let this happen? First of all, you cannot prevent what Allah wrote. Men can marry four wives, right? So like you go into this person and telling him to do this and that, he can't stop what Allah wrote. And when he's able to do it, there's some people that can see things that we can't see. And like it's very much haram. Like we all know that you're not supposed to believe in any other power but the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for people to go to other people like, oh, I can't have a baby, can you do this? Can you do that? Most of it all ends up as like the boca raping the girl. And then she has a kid, and then they believe, oh, Allah gave me this kid. But at the end of the day, no. Like you know what happened in there, but you still want to believe in it because you don't want society to think, oh, I don't have a kid. Not everybody's supposed to have a kid. Like Allah writes everybody's destiny is different. So just because you don't have a kid doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You have something that somebody else doesn't have. Like we could see in our prophets, Zachariah didn't have a kid till he was very, very old. He didn't go to any boga for him to give him a kid. He literally waited that long and he prayed to Allah. We have all these resources. If you want something that bad, talk to Allah in tahajjud. That's what Allah calls us every single night, and He wakes us up for fajr so that we could talk to Him. Don't rely on anybody else or a necklace that's gonna save you. That's very much shirk.
I'm
Lit.
not gonna lie. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you
go
off.
ahead.
No, but you literally clocked it, and I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so true. Allah has everything written for all of us. So some people don't will not have a spouse in this dunya. Some people will not have children. Some people won't have.
Anything, and that's okay because it's written for y'all. So I feel like honestly, like a lot of Africans, the way we think, they run to go to get amulets, protective amulets, especially in Mali too. Like there's like another thing they put on like their forearm. They believe it will like I remember I gave it to me when I visited her. They put it on your forearm. They think it's gonna protect you from evil. It's not in the third, but like I feel like one big thing that I feel like Africans really need to work on: stop associating anything with all the power of Allah. No amulet, no type of voodoo, no type of potion, no type of like little thing or serum that I can use is gonna like affect my will. At the end of the day, Allah wrote for me a million of years ago. So at the end of the day, that's what it is.
And it's like people forgetting the history of like how Islam came to be. Did y'all forget that like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made sure all the idols were literally destroyed? That was for a reason. Now y'all are putting power on idols and objects or people at that and making it seem as if they have more power than Allah. And I'm confused because what was the whole point of Islam then? What was the whole point of it being created this way? You're not supposed to worship anything except for Allah. And something I wanted to touch up on that Nunu said, like, it's the fact that you're putting these superstitions, this fear onto your children, your Muslim kids at that. Why are you? I'm sorry, I'm passionate. I just bang the table while I'm talking.
No, girl, I understand. Oh my
No,
God.
because it really frustrates me because you are supposed to be the example for your kids. Like the prophet said, you're supposed to lead by example. Why are you putting fear into your children or just your family in general? Fear that you're not supposed to be implementing because it is shirk, it's haram, and you're letting your kids grow up with
Literally.
that. You know what I mean? It's like you're making it generational. That's haram. Like I can't stress it enough. That is so haram.
It
And
is it's very hard on. Oh, I cut somebody off. Go ahead.
oh yeah, I was looking about to piggyback on what you said about the shows. Like I do watch my fair share of Malian shows and Senegalese shows, and like seeing it, I feel like it's a great representation of what happens in RRL. Like that really happens in real life. For every small inconvenience, instead of like praying and making dua about it, they rather just go to a marabou. And on top of that, they be praying to them sometimes. It be sometimes like literally like. And I'm not gonna like a lot of these marabouts, they be literally finessing out of so much money. Like they don't know what they be talking about, but they be finessing out of so much money, expensive money that they could like literally put into charity. This, that, and the third. Yeah, I'd rather give it to somebody who y'all put close to literally God. And it's sometimes to the point like they feel like they worship him and it's like they don't even they forget they're Muslim. It's like every small inconvenience, Allah will literally listen to all your problems. No matter how many times you sin, just always turn back to him. He will literally and I feel like we always stress this enough. Like turn back to Allah, He will always listen to your problems. And if it's will for it to be solved the way you want it to be, it will literally be that way. But don't go to like a fortune teller or any spiritual potion is down the third for your problems to be solved. At the end of the day, that's haram and that's shirk. Like
And another thing I want to touch base on, this may not be a cultural thing, but astrology. Why are you believing in zodiac signs? What? Oh, you're this, you're that. That means that you're this and that. What's your sun, rising, moon, da, da, da. And you actually believe in it while being a Muslim? Like, kabako. Like, that's
oh,
crazy.
Oh, dead, like literally talking about some, oh, I acted this way because the moon is in Mercury or Venus or Mars. I don't care, bro. You're a bad person because you're a bad person. Why are you telling me that you is because
Right.
you was born on this
Literally.
day, this
Like
star
the
was
full moon, the
shining in
full
the
moon made
sky,
me
the
cranky. The
full
full moon
moon.
made me cuss you out. Like, girl, what are you talking? Are you a
Like,
werewolf?
what? And the thing is, and I was watching a video that one of my friends actually recently posted on TikTok talking about this. Basically, like they're so like all of those posts are also so vague that anybody can literally relate to anything. Like I could be
Literally.
born, I'm born like earlier in the year in January, and I could relate to something that somebody was born in August. Like, bro, like so what are you really trying to say here? And And just to bring it back to what you were saying earlier about how like our parents like knowing is shirk, I feel like a big part of it, and this also opens up this conversation of practicing the religion blindly. A lot of our parents are born and raised in these cultures, in our cultures, where a lot of the things that we have the guts to question are things that they didn't have the guts to question because it was surrounded by all of them. So the whole idea with the superstitions and everything like that, these are things that they heard growing up and they were never allowed to question it, because if they question it now, it's like, oh, they're questioning it in an environment where everyone practices it. So now you're looking like the outlier, and they gonna start outing you and all of that. But since we are here, we're children of the diaspora. Our parents are like, worked hard, so that we could be here and stuff like that today. We are learning our religion in a different way. We are, asking the questions that need to be asked. We're questioning the practices that don't necessarily line up with what it is that we learn. Our parents, a lot of, not even just like our parents, but if you even think about the way that, the kids are sent to Islamic school back home. A lot of them are sent to Islamic school to learn and like memorize the Quran and memorize, all the things that have to do with the Deen. But a lot of them memorize it because they have to, not because they're understanding what it is. They're blindly following because that's what they're told they're supposed to do. They're told that this is just the way that it's supposed to be. And that causes confusion, and it causes us to question, and it causes us to really look at our cultures and be like, are you sure this is the way that it's supposed to be? Even when we have those conversations with some of our parents, like, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes like I be questioning my parents and telling them like, this is actually like not, what it is that we're supposed to be doing. They're like, oh, but this is the culture, this is just the way that it is and stuff like that. And it just kind of begs the question for a long time. There's a lot of things that we grow up on thinking like, oh, this is a part of the religion because this is what we're told that's a part of the religion, until we learn for ourselves like this is not a part of the religion. And we kind of, we just have to be that breaking point. We just have to be the people that don't perpetuate that for our future generations, because we know better. They didn't know better, and they couldn't have performed better with what they didn't know, you know?
I heavily, heavily agree, and I feel like honestly, we're gonna be the generation to change it. Because I feel like a lot of, like you said before, a lot of the stuff that they like we talk about now, I feel like our parents' generation and before that, they will be too scared. And even now, I feel like they're too comfortable and too scared to even break out of it and talk about like what's real and what's fake. That's why I also feel like it's also important. Or because you're born Muslim doesn't mean like you practice well. It's so many things that are strict that like may Allah forgive me. Like I did not know that was strict simply because like it was enrooted in my culture and me growing up, I didn't know it was strict. I kind of feel like yeah, you're born Muslim, but also learn your deen the true way. Because at the end of the day, it's so many stuff that I feel like our generation do, like our past generation do, and it's just like it's so normalized and it's not talked about enough. You know? Yeah.
So, do you want to switch topics?
Yeah, I think Abitu kind of like open the floor about it a little bit. The next topic will be fear of questioning elders. The idea that it's disrespectful to ask for proof when elders teach or do something un-Islamic, and like the fear of being labeled like rebellious for saying, "Where in the Quran is that?"
Hadith
Yeah,
or
I think this is so important to me personally because I remember there would be so many times like my mom she'll be like praying a certain way, doing certain stuff, and like even like saying certain stuff, practicing a certain way, and I'll just be like, "Girl, like." No shit, like what are you doing? And she'll be like, "Oh, that's how you're supposed to do it. It's not in the third." And then when I'll just do it like literally by the sunnah way or like do it the way it's like really supposed to way, I'm labeled as an extremist. I'm labeled as doing too much. So yeah. Anybody wanna like talk about this topic? The floor is
Yes,
open.
yes, yes. Oh my God. I literally agree with this so bad. I feel like our parents, when you don't do things the way that they want it to be done, they're gonna call you rebellious. They're gonna call you rebellious. And the example I have of that is like I'm trying to think. It was one time because I live with my aunt, right? So, like you said, you were telling your mom how to pray about something. So I was correcting my aunt on a way that she was reading, like she was reciting something, and then she was like I don't know. Once again, I'm gonna keep talking about like just the Fulani culture and how it's embedded in just everything. Like she just responded with such like I don't want to say hate, but it was like I know more than you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't know anything. Or like she'll be like, because around that time, like obviously I was not the perfect Muslim, like on my salah and on my deen all the time. She'd be like, "You're not even Muslim. Like, what would you know?" I'm like, "Girl, I'm trying to help you. What do you mean I'm not Muslim just because I missed a few prayers? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't practice the stuff that you practice." And just each time, like I'll try to advise or anything, it would just always be like I feel like they don't want to unlearn what they already learned, and that's the problem. And then I want to unlearn what they're teaching me, and now I'm deemed rebellious. So where does that leave us?
I agree so much, and I feel like it all goes back to the like because like oh my God, I'm sorry, I have a lot in my head. It's all like, okay, go pray, but why? Why do I have to pray? And when you ask them why, they don't explain it to you. Islam teaches us to question. And if a kid comes up to you and they're like, okay, why do I have to pray? If you explain to them that if you pray, you're like connecting with Allah. If you show them that Islam is very important. It's very simple. Because I feel like they complicate Islam so much and make it seem like it's a religion of like you have to force yourself to do things. Once you learn about Islam and you learn that Islam is very much a peaceful religion, and that's like a way of life. You would be very confused in your life if you're just walking around not knowing why you're praying or why you're wearing the hijab. And I feel like that's why it's so hard for Muslims nowadays. And we have the internet. You could unlearn all the things that your parents were teaching you. And like it's okay to know that they're wrong. Okay, they're your parents, they're older than you, but yeah, they could be wrong, and you could be the one to teach them. Not everybody knows everything. That's why we have sheikhs and imams, because you could go and ask them, and there's something a sheikh doesn't know and you know, and you could tell him and he will listen. But with your parents is like, who are you to tell me this? Like, I'm older than you, I'm your mom, do not question me. But that all goes to the fact, like, you're born Muslim, right? But sometimes you're forced to do certain things, like wear the hijab, pray, but you don't know why you're doing these things. And if our parents really like sit down, and if a kid asks your mom, oh mommy, why do you pray 5 times a day, and the mom really sits down and explain the love that she has and the connection she has for Allah, that would change the whole kid's perspective as to like why.
No,
Um,
literally, you
oh,
you said everything. Like, oh, God.
no, you're
Every-
good. Don't worry, don't worry.
you stay doing that. But I just wanted to like wholeheartely agree with what you guys said so far because I deeply resonate, especially like with what Lua said about like, um questioning. And then the biggest thing, the one thing that my mom says sometimes when I like try to say things to her, she's like, oh, I've been practicing this religion for how many years? You just started practicing it like because I'm younger than her, way younger than her. Like she's been doing it for her whole life, so she knows better. Like there's nothing that I know better than her, this whole idea of like, I've been doing this for a long time. And I think it's not that they don't want to unlearn. I feel like they're just not ready to face like the fear that they have been doing something wrong their whole life. They're not ready to ask those questions and really, take accountability in the sense of the fact that they have been practicing something the wrong way like their whole life. That's what they're not ready for.
Oh, she clocked it. No, but there's something I wanted to say, like, to me, something that I had to unlearn growing up with like my parents, because all of our parents are a different generation, they grew up in a different time, is that age plays a role in wisdom or knowledge. Yes, you're my mother or my father. Yes, you're older than me. Yes, you've been through more than I have. But to like try and downplay my knowledge or the knowledge that I literally took the time to seek just because you're older than me just makes absolutely no sense, especially when it comes to religion. No matter who you are in the dunya, like I can love my family so much, but I'm gonna put my religion and Allah first always. So for me to go out my way to learn certain things and I'm trying to educate you as your daughter, it's not me trying to like switch roles with you, like, okay, now I'm gonna mother you, or I'm like, you know what I mean? It's not like that. It's me as a Muslim coming to you as a Muslim and helping you unlearn shirk. And I feel like lots of parents, they're not ready for that conversation. They think that when a child is right or when they have wisdom that they don't have, it's them trying to claim their authority. But whole time I'm just trying to help you out. You know what I mean? I want us to make it to Jannah together. But you're literally teaching me shirk. I'm trying to help you unlearn that, and for you it's like, oh, stay in a child's place. Why?
No,
Literally.
you clocked it. And also about like them not being ready to unlearn it. I also think another possibility could also be is like social backlash. They feel like if they're especially coming from like West Africa, like you could be from Senegal, Mali, like or Guinea, like if you if you grew up in like a culture where it's like basically like everything's just shirk and like they believe in like other gods, is that and the third. If you're that one oddball out trying to like unlearn that, they're gonna look at you funny. Especially because our parents are older, and especially like Africans also have a stigma where like they value and care about other people's opinions about them so bad. It's like they just rather just consider to commit the biggest sin in Islam rather than just like lock in on Deen. You know?
Literally, literally. And um I just wanted so in Wolof actually have this proverb which is funny. It says ham ham pusola hale mun na kofar mak mun na kofar, which means the knowledge is like a needle. An old person can pick it up just as a young person can. And it's like something that we have to remind ourselves. And I think it's more so of like a pride thing at the end of the day. Like, oh, I'm your parent, I'm the parent, I'm the one that should, teach. I'm the one that should teach. It shouldn't be coming from you. But at the end of the day, like everything also boils down to delivery. Sometimes if I know like for my mom specifically, like so I've been taking this dua class where I'm learning like different duas from the Sunnah and Hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And sometimes when I come back home, I tell my mom these duas and stuff like that, and she actually kind of like picks up on it and asks me to tell her and stuff like that. So it just really it just boils down to the like how you go about it at the end of the day, because I also noticed that like as our parents get older, it's more so of a focus on trying to get back onto the Deen. Like you will start seeing an increase of all of those WhatsApp videos that they be sharing around. You gonna see all of those Quranic du'as that they sharing around in WhatsApp, and that's something that comes to them as they get older. But for some of our younger parents, a lot of it is rooted into that societal projection of them, of how they go about things and how other people will judge them. But yeah, I mean that also ties back to the whole idea of like I know this is not a specific topic, but wearing hijab, like a lot of them when you're younger, they're like, oh, be young, wild, and free, and when you get older, you can wear hijab because being religious is something that you should do when you get older. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I could keep going on this. But go ahead.
No, heavy on the hijab part. Like, I'm also another thing. I also feel like back home, like me, because me personally, I went to Africa so many times. Every time I would go back home, I feel like I would see more hijabis here than back home.
Can I please say something? Please, please.
Go ahead.
No, because let me tell y'all the story. Let me tell y'all a story. So when I went to Morocco last year, my family and I we were at a cafe, and the cafe is inside the train station. So my dad's cousin, she was next door working, or she was at the gym, something like that. So he called her. He's like, "Oh, like come over, say hi to the kids, blah blah blah." She comes. Mind y'all, I'm a new hijabi. I became a hijabi in like 2023, I believe.
Mashallah.
Mashallah. But yeah, so she comes, and I'm pretty sure she's around my father's age, maybe a little bit younger. She looks at me, and in Darija, she tells my dad, like, oh, like, she wears the hijab? And he was like, yeah, she's a hijabi. She goes, why?
Like,
And
what?
I was like, wait, what? What do you mean why? Like, I was like, first of all, you're in a predominantly Muslim country asking me why I wear the hijab. And in my head, like, I was just like, is she asking because I'm young, or is she asking because, like, feel me, she's much older than me and she doesn't wear it, like, you know? And it made me a little uncomfortable because I'm like, you as a Muslim are asking a younger Muslim why she's wearing the hijab. That just felt so weird to me. So, yeah, and what Freeman said is so true. I feel like the younger girls here in like New York, for example, we wear the hijab way more than when I was in Morocco. I didn't see hijabis like that for real.
And yeah, back on that, like every time I go back to Africa, it's like you would barely see, like you would see hijabs, but they're not there, they're not on the right way, or they're only wearing it simply because like their hair is not done. And not gonna lie, even like the whole idea of like mahrams, I feel like that's also not well respected back home as well. For like because in Africa you grow up in such a big home. Even like here, you grow up in such a big home. People who you grow up with, even though they're not related, so you think that like, they're your cousins, they're your brothers down the third. And I feel like we don't respect enough of like, the idea of mahrams and why that idea was even set in place. It's to protect us one. So I feel like also as hijabis, like in Africa, like you will literally see like older women sometimes without the hijab on. You will see, and it'll be like a bunch of men just clustered around, like just drinking tea, like, and it'll just be nothing but like women walking around, like either like not fully covered or like it's just like when you just think about it, it's like this is just all culture. And I understand like being in like a populated household, I understand it could get messy, but at the end of the day, like you still need to respect Islam before you do anything else, you know?
And I'm really glad you touched up on the mahrams because like what we were talking about before, the white sheet test, for example. What is the point of my husband and my father being my mahram and you're not protecting me from something like that? You're literally allowing my family to know whether or not I was a virgin before my marriage. You're letting people who are not my mahrams see blood on my sheet or like talk about it and say, for example, there is no blood on the sheet. Now you having people talk about your own daughter and her business. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure in Islam we were granted privacy. So I'm confused. Why is my mahrams you're not protecting me, especially about my like something that has to do with my virginity? That's crazy.
Right.
Block
And
it.
disgusting too.
Block
Heavy on the
it.
disgusting.
Yo, I also want to talk about the hijab thing because that's something I personally relate to. Like, oh my God. So, excuse me. So basically, since I was in like middle school, I just like willingly put on the hijab, right? And I remember my aunt would tell me, she was like, when you put it on, you shouldn't take it off and stuff like that. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, so I just like always wore it. And then as I got older, like my mom, she would tell me, she's like, oh, like you said earlier, she was like, oh, you're a young girl. You shouldn't wear it right now. And she even told me something that I told Farima too. She was like that in the job, like who out here these days wearing a hijab is not gonna guarantee you to get a good job. And when she said that, I was like, what do you mean by that? Like, because like I know she's not saying it out of like, oh, like she hates it or something like that. But it was just like she was like, please, like just wait till you're older. And I'm just looking at her like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, and literally each time I wear it, like she always have something to say, like always, 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 always. So then I'm like, you know what? Like I shouldn't let what she's saying give me like a hard time with the hijab, even though it does, if I'm really being honest. Like it's really hard. But I just think about it as to like why our parents think that. Like, you're a Muslim, you pray. What's the problem? Like, and half the time she has it on too. So like, are you projecting? Like,
No, literally. Go ahead, Nunu.
Oh, sorry. I think it's really society because I could relate so much. When I went to PWI, like, so I was the only hijabi since seventh grade in my whole graduating class of 25. So I really had a hard time with the hijab. Like, I didn't take it off, but I still wasn't wearing it properly. I did turbans, my edges were still out. It wasn't right. And in my senior year of high school, after I went on my Umrah trip, that's when like I came back and I connected back to the Deen so much, and I realized like why. And I didn't care that I was the only hijabi anymore. Like I stood out. And like with your whole mom saying like, oh, you're not gonna get a job with the hijab on. I feel like generation has changed now. You have to be the representation. You have to be the only one in the room. You have to stand out. It's very important for us to like show like, especially young girls nowadays, like it's okay to put on the hijab. The hijab is your crown. Like you look beautiful in your hijab. Don't take it off because you're the only one in the room. And I want to connect this whole back to the whole mahar thing. Oh my God, sorry. And it's with the whole culture, weddings and stuff like that. Islam doesn't teach us to have big, luxurious weddings. It shows us to have like a small nikah in a masjid, and that's the wedding that has the most barakah. Covering yourself, not wearing the hijab where your neck is out, and all of that. Like it's okay to do your makeup, look beautiful on your wedding day, but come on, don't forget that this is still a religion of Islam. You're still getting married as a Muslim. You're still supposed to cover.
Girl, that's literally our next topic. Our next topic is literally gonna be culture versus Islamic weddings. And I feel like me personally, like I said, I'm Malian. I know I keep repeating it, but like I feel like
Big Molly Bob.
yeah, big 223. But I feel like it's a big cultural pressure to include like large parties, like prices, music, big outfits, bigger showbiz design, the third when it comes to weddings. So I also feel like we need to sit back and realize like that's not Islam. Like you can enjoy your wedding, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like having a small intimate nikah that's really like looked over. Simply because it's a big cultural thing. I feel also another thing is pride as well. I feel like if especially because like my parents and like not, I wouldn't say I feel like my mom, mostly the women in my family, they feel like if you have a small wedding and it looks cheap, it's a bad representation of them. But at the end of the day, like think about it Islamically, like the Prophets when they had their ninkahs, it was nothing big, it was nothing extravagant, it was simple and straight to the point. And I feel like cultural weddings can also push girls into depth and also zina and depression and trying to meet expectations. I feel like you're so focused on any expectation, you're like not really realizing the true beauty of the union between two people in Islam. You know what I mean?
And I love that we're touching this topic because I'm a strong believer that like however your wedding plays out or how your nikah plays out is it'll affect like your relationship. So for instance, if you follow like the sunnah way, like just have a small nikah and the woman, like you wear the hijab, you cover your neck, whatever, cool. And if you do wear makeup, like it's only like your maharams and like women around you and stuff. And the wedding, like no music, no free mixing, this and that. I feel like that's like so much barakah right there because you're doing it the right way, especially in this dunya with so many temptations of people wanting to like.
Everyone has a competition now. I feel like weddings are
Yeah.
literally a competition now.
Yeah, but like doing it the right way, it's good, that Allah provides so much barakah into that because you're doing it for His sake. You're doing it the right way for His sake, and you're ignoring the temptations in this,
Hmm.
in this dunya. Whereas people who, like they have the free mixing, the music, the dancing, the outfits, and all that stuff. First of all, not only are you like sinning in front of other people, especially as the bride, like, with the makeup and maybe not wearing the hijab and stuff, but you're also bringing more sins upon yourself because you are hosting this event and allowing people to come and free mix and dance and all that stuff. And I truly believe that there's no barakah in that because you're ignoring the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us we're supposed to have our nikah and our weddings. So I feel like the more haram that you have at your weddings, the more it's gonna affect your relationship in real time. And that, I'm telling y'all, that's real, bro. Because we know when you go against Allah and you see why certain things are haram, you learn the hard way. You feel me? And like, this is you completing half of your deen. This is something serious. You know what I mean? It's not about a competition. It's not about the pride of your family or looking expensive and stuff. This is literally half of your deen.
And I feel like we also downplay how big that is, half of your deen. That's like, and imagine you mess up, you let all the barakah of it fly away simply because you want to have a big extravagant wedding. Now, I'm not saying don't get already pretty dressed, don't do your bringing for your wedding, but at the same time, music is still haram. Gender mixing, free mixing, that's still haram at the end of the day. So don't let that fly to your head simply because you want to have you want to win a popularity
Right.
competition for your wedding. But yeah.
Also, as women, like henna nights and stuff, you can literally wear the cutest outfit. You don't even have to wear hijab. You have all women around you, your friends, family, no phones. You could do as you please.
You can have the funnest wedding, the happiest wedding for yourself as long as it's just halal.
And your wedding pictures, it doesn't have to be in public. You can do that privately, you know?
Yeah. And also another thing, oh my God, I'm gonna let y'all talk. I feel like we just
You
yapping.
know what I mean?
No,
No,
let us
I
know saying everything. Like,
no, for real.
yeah.
I feel like weddings these days, like people are just obsessed with the wedding itself, not the
Mhm.
marriage, not anything. They're just obsessed with
You
finding a
got
husband.
TikTok.
They're literally obsessed with finding the aesthetic husband so they could post the Instagram pictures,
Mhm.
have the nice wedding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't care about marriage anymore, and they don't even understand the importance of marriage. Okay, like because I
Oh,
feel like I
block
feel
it,
like I
Noah.
feel
Block
like it's
it.
not it's and look, I'm a big romance girl. I swear to God, I'm a very
Big
big
lover
romance
girl.
girl.
Big lover
But
girl.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like I feel like, but when it comes to marriage, it's really not about that. Like, and this might sound so crazy to say, but it's really not about that. I feel like when it comes to marriage, like it's a commitment, and like you said, it's half your deen. So it's both of now it's two people that have to please Allah, not just one, but two people who have to do it together. So I feel like, oh my God, I love this topic.
Me too. Like, but like literally everything you guys said, what people fail to remember is that the marriage and all of the marriage rituals is 1%, 0.01% of what the entire marriage is. And if you start your marriage upon haram, then how do you think that your marriage will turn out? If you start your marriage having we've seen this before, as was mentioned, big extravagant weddings, people wearing like, very, very long, very much extravagant gold. I think the first thing that I'm thinking about that comes to mind, Fatima, is of Fatu Nyangadu, like her wedding, like
Yeah, she had like 30 outfit changes and like
30
at least $1 million worth of gold. Like,
like all this gold, all this showing out. But we've seen this not even just like in Muslim cultures, but like in general, people that have big extravagant weddings. If you go and you look and look at them now, a lot of them end up in divorce. Why? Because all of the debt that they go through because of it, because of all of the money that they have to give back to people, all of the like just all of the waste, all of the free mixing, the haram that it produced from from just doing all of that. And one thing that I want to honor though is is you can still have a beautiful wedding rooted in tradition, but doing it the halal way. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have like, a little henna parties. That's a cultural thing. Those are things that, based on different cultures, is you do it before the wedding. The the whole thing where, our mothers will, depending on which culture you are from, like the whole thing where the mothers of the community come together, and they, sing rituals, sing not rituals, but sing songs to you that talk about marriage. Those are beautiful things. Those are very beautiful things, and those are things that, is rooted in tradition. And I don't believe that they go against Islam necessarily. But the moment it goes against Islam, the moment you're introducing music, the moment you're introducing free mixing, the moment you're promoting this woman who wears hijab to not wear hijab in a certain situation where, other men will be present, that is when it becomes a problem. And that's what we have to remind ourselves. I've been to Senegalese weddings who that have been done in completely halal, only nasheeds playing, everybody separate, people just, like like giving speeches talking about the importance of marriage in Islam and the union of two people. You know, those things are halal, but to add all of these extra noise, extra that gives stress to the couple. Even like for the first year of their marriage, they're going back and repaying people, saying, "Oh, this person gave this much, this person gave that much." How many tantis taken off their tontins or their susus or their whatever, just to make sure that this is the biggest extravagant wedding, just for what? To be like, yeah, my daughter is gonna have the biggest, bestest wedding in all of Bamako, the biggest.
Literally.
Like, what are you talking about? I don't want the biggest, bestest wedding. I want people, it's sunnah to tell like, to have a walima and tell people that you're married because you're supposed to do that. But do it in the way that pleases Allah, that you get barakah. You're feeding people. That's barakah and feeding people. You're you're doing like Quran recitation, things that help people remember Allah and remember the beauty of two souls coming together, remembering the beauty of people completing their deen and encouraging people to do the same thing. But nowadays, like Lua said, people just want to sit on the bed, have the money umbrella, just, singing with their, like, that's all that they want. And then after that day is over, after it's just you and your husband, what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm not ready for marriage. Now divorce.
And to
Exactly what
piggyback
I'm
on what
trying to
Lewis
say.
said, oh, sorry, Louis, you wanna go?
No, you could go.
Piggyback on what Lewis said, basically, like, I feel like people just like romanticize the idea of a wedding, y'all like the big outfits, and don't get me wrong, I feel like our culture is beautiful. We love where we come from, the music, the fabrics, the music, the food, everything. The history is beautiful, but like, I feel like at a certain point, it's gonna start compromising with our faith. If you're having a wedding simply for the idea of just because you want to have a big wedding and like have nice outfit changes and anything. I feel like it's a girl's dream. I feel like as girls, as we're like a little young from babies, we always think about how we want to have a big extravagant wedding dress when it's not in a third. But as you get older, you start to realize that's not Islam. Islam is about being humble. So I feel like don't try to like show off your wealth. This not in a third. And I feel like gold is also a big part of our culture. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you cannot wear gold, but I feel like don't be trying to be extravagant and design a thing with all the gold. Like, don't get me wrong. I feel like it's beautiful. The outfits are beautiful. Everything is so. Our culture is beautiful. I feel like let's not try to like say like our culture is 100% terrible. Our culture is beautiful, but also I feel like there's a fine line between culture and Islam. And I feel like also our wedding should also, instead of implementing music, let's try to doing Quran recitations. Instead of having like gender mix, and let's have two different sections for a woman and the men. That's how it really should be.
And another thing I want to say is like, you also have to remember your intentions behind everything also still plays a role, like no matter what. And for example, the gold part. I'm a North African girly, okay? Y'all know North Africans, we love our gold. Same with West Africa. We love gold. But that's still something that's materialistic. So for you to want to be flashy and have everybody post you with all the gold that you have, the money that you're getting from your aunts, your uncles, and this and that, don't forget your place. Islam teaches you to be modest. Islam teaches you to be humble. Nothing in this dunya should be that serious for you to want to be flexing to everybody else, like on your wedding day at that. Your wedding day. Like, that's insane to me, you know? And I feel like parents also, this is something else I wanted to touch up on. Parents definitely play a role when it comes to that because like I'm gonna get a little personal. So my father, he's Muslim, but my mom, she's Christian. My dad would obviously understand way more that I would want like a small intimate nikah and maybe like a small wedding with no music, people separated and stuff. Cool. Like he would understand. My mother, however, not only is she Christian, but she's also Ecuadorian. Hispanics, they love to have big parties and weddings and all that free mixing, dancing, because that's part of their culture. I feel like my mom may not understand it as much because knowing her, she dreams of her daughters having huge weddings, people from Ecuador and Morocco coming, the music, dancing with my family, saying hi to all my cousins, my uncles and stuff, hugs and kisses because again, that's normal in Ecuador. And I feel like part of me knows that no matter what my parents think or say, I'm gonna do my wedding my way. The guest list is gonna be controlled by me. My parents are not inviting whoever they want to invite because it's my wedding. Same with my baby shower. Because at the end of the day, like Islam comes first, bro. I'm sorry. Like I understand, okay, y'all may think, oh, for the memories, this and that, but no matter what, this is my lifelong partner, inshallah. We're gonna be married, we're gonna travel together, we're gonna have a family, inshallah. Like the wedding means nothing, bro.
And I feel that's also another part about marriage. I feel like the value of marriage is also decreasing. I feel like people put so much value on the actual wedding, but what about the real marriage and the real union starts after the wedding? I feel that's also not realized or talked about enough. So yeah, I feel like in my opinion, me personally, like my idea, I first when I growing up, I always wanted a big wedding, but now that I'm thinking about it, like low key, I do now want a small intimate wedding where like me and my husband are controlling the guest list. We're controlling where it's gonna be designed and third, not our parents. So I feel like once you put everything in your parents, especially like me having African parents, an African mom at that, who's Malian, like she want to bring a jelly for everything. She want to do design and stuff for everything. And I feel like that's not just simply just not. It's not. But does anybody else have anything to say about this topic before we move to the next one? The next one is a really exciting topic. That's all I have to say.
Okay, I'm
So,
just gonna touch on something little. I'm not gonna
okay,
go.
go.
But it's like it's all the fact that if you're playing music at your weddings, the angels are not gonna be there. So like imagine you're playing a boogie at your wedding. The angels will not come, they wouldn't even step foot into the door. But imagine you're playing Quran Nasheed and all that. You're doing it the right way. The angels are blessing your weddings. Do you realize how much like different that makes? Like it's different when parents bless weddings, like you get all the blessings, but the angels blessing your wedding, that's a different type of aura. Sorry.
And I feel like also just to add on, like personally for me, like speaking, like my mom, alhamdulillah, she's really not that type of person that really likes big, extravagant things. So the pressure is not necessarily from her, but it's from a lot of like my aunts in the community. They're like, oh, you know, we have to do a big one for Abibatou. Like when people say we gonna do our big one where? Who's doing big one? Because it's not gonna be me. Y'all gonna be severely disappointed when y'all see that I'm just doing whatever traditional things we do and the nikah and that's it. Like they they need some parents to be disappointed. But other than that, I feel like when it comes to like the griots though, like the jellies, I personally don't think like them talking about your family history, there is beauty in that. So I don't think that that necessarily is haram. It's whatever comes after that, like with all of the music and the mixing and stuff like that. That I don't condone. But them kind of like singing praises, singing to you about marriage and stuff like that, I think that's beautiful, and that's a tradition that we should also uphold because you know following our deen doesn't necessarily mean to delete our religion or delete our culture is that one to say, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us all come from different cultures, and there's a hadith there that we all come from different cultures so that we can learn from each other. We all come from different tribes so that we can learn from each other. And I think this is another like big misconception before we move on to another topic, that a lot of people think, or a lot of maybe our families and our mindsets, they think that us wanting to become more religious is us trying to be more Arab. No, I hate that mindset. I hate the mindset that trying to follow your deen is trying to erase your culture to adopt another culture. Just because you're following the deen doesn't mean you're trying to be more Arab. There's also Arab cultures that are don't even go like they don't go hand in hand with the deen. But just because you want to, do something the halal way, that doesn't mean that you're erasing your culture or replacing your culture with Arab culture. I think that's a big, huge misconception that a lot of people, make.
I'm so glad you said that. I would love to touch up on the Arab thing because like me coming from like technically an Arab African country, I hate that people have placed the standard of a perfect Muslim on Arabs, specifically people from Saudi and stuff, because they're sneaky, first of all, number one. Number two, I'm not even gonna talk about the relationship between Moroccans and Saudis, but if y'all want to look up to Saudis who are literally enslaving Moroccans, by all means go ahead and be that example. But just to let you know, they're not perfect either. And I hate that like people instantly assume that a Muslim is supposed to look like an Arab man or an Arab woman, perfect on Deen, hijabi this, all that, like the guys wearing a tobe and stuff. Because when you go to Arab countries, bro, let me tell you something. It's not what you think it is. It's not perfect at all. Literally, no one's perfect. There's not a single country, race in this world who's a perfect Muslim. You know what I mean? So I personally hate that stereotype. Like, just because you want to be better at your deen does not mean, oh, you're trying to be Arab, this, and that. That has nothing to do with Islam. You understand what I'm saying? So that really just be pissing me off.
And another thing about the jellies, that's another point I also do want to bring up. All because we're like denouncing certain cultural like things. I do feel like a lot of pieces of cultures are beautiful and it is very much halal. I feel like in Mali we have two different jellies. We have jellies with music and we have a jelly who just like does like basically just like talking and like storytelling. For the storytelling and talking about your family history, like Abibatou said, that's the beautiful part of it. Like don't get me wrong, I also feel like I do wanna like put that out there. Like we're not like condemning our culture. I feel like our culture has so much beautiful things, like I said before, and things they could honestly still be practiced at weddings and it's still halal, but stuff that also shouldn't be talked about. But on to the next topic, since we're talking about marriage, this topic was a really like I feel like everybody wanted to talk about this one. This one would be tribalism. Tribalism is basically like I guess say like being like discriminatory based on the tribe you come from. I know a lot of people will say that certain cultures, certain tribes, they can't marry outside of your tribe, judging others based on their ethnic background over like their deen and stuff like that. Me
True,
personally,
true.
oh, oh yeah, eager.
Oh,
You
we
gotta jump in.
ready.
Yes.
We are ready. We are ready. Go ahead,
Yo,
girl.
cause this,
Introduce the topic.
Okay,
yo,
I'll let you have the mic.
okay, so Fulani people.
Lou
There's
is like, where do
already,
I start?
you said what?
I said, Lou is like, where do I start?
No, because like there's already this stigma, like on Fulanis. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie, it's true. So let me start with the most recent conversation because we're at that age where parents like try to sneak in the marriage, who you're gonna marry, tell who not to marry. Literally, this was like 3 days ago. Again, I'm on the phone with my mother. She's like, and I introduced her to one of my friends. He's also Fulani. She was like, "Oh, that tribe and our tribe can't marry each other because if you have kids together, your kids is gonna end up like basically she was saying that if me and that person from the other tribe marry each other, we're gonna end up having kids that are not normal. Like, please listen to, please just let that marinate and sink in your membrane because what? And also like wallahi astaghfirullah. And then like growing up, my family was like never marry a Senegalese person because like Senegalese people are like evil, the witchcraft. They're gonna marry you, use you, and leave you. Like yo, like it's a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, like the racism. Let me not even say racism. No, no, no. I'm gonna say racism. I don't care. It comes from within. That's why they're so careless to do it on others who are not their own people. Because if you could be racist to your own kind, why would you not be racist to other people? Like, let's be so for real. Like, literally, I have a cousin, right? She married this beautiful, Allahumma barak, they're so beautiful together, Mauritanian man, but he's very dark skinned, like, he's very dark skinned, and it's so beautiful. And she's like lighter than me. She's brown skin, light skin. So I remember the day of her wedding, her mom is going to go call my dad and start crying. He starts crying. I mean, she starts crying. She was like, her daughter is gonna ruin her life, is ruining herself. Look at the man she's marrying. And I remember I'm sitting next to my dad. I'm like, oh my God, can I see? I look at the picture. I'm like, yo, like, he's fire. Like, but the only reason she was saying that is because of how dark he was. She was like, oh my God, how is her baby gonna look? And oh my God, let me just keep okay, I'm gonna just let y'all talk.
Yes, Lua, not gonna lie, period. And one thing I do want to say before like I give the mic to y'all, why do people forget that it's sunnah to marry outside of your race?
Thank you.
Like I'm
Love
so
it. It's literally Sunnah, and the
sunnah, like I'm
Sallallahu Alaihi
confused.
Wasallam said it. Like,
Wait, for real? I didn't
I'm
know that.
yes,
I
it
didn't
is.
know
It,
that.
it's
literally,
very much encouraged in Islam to marry outside of your race.
Oh yeah,
the
oh
That's
yeah, no
why,
full on
Prophet,
man.
the
bro, that's why
Prophet.
like when people tell me, okay, so I have a friend, right?
Mhm.
Her name is Anna. She's Ashanti. I remember I was talking to her. I was like, oh, like, we were talking about our types and men or whatever, just being girls. And she told me how like her parents are like in her tribe, you're not allowed to marry anybody who's not like a Ghanaian Ashanti, like they're so heavy on that. And I kept asking her, I'm like, are you for real? Like, are you for real? Like, it's actually like that, blah, blah. Because it, like, to me, I was just gagged, like, yo, that's a thing still?
And I
Mm-hmm.
think most of it comes from trying to keep the bloodline pure. That's another
It,
thing. Like pure,
quote unquote,
purity.
pure. Quote
Yeah, like
unquote.
purity. Like I don't understand. Like girl, it's 2025. That purity. I think our generation. We're gonna be the one to literally end that because that's just so weird. Allah wrote the wedding. Allah wrote who your partner's gonna be years ago. You telling me that I can't marry this person simply because he's not the same tribe as me?
Dang.
Y'all know
Oh
how
my
crazy that
God.
sounds? Like
Can
Like,
I say
the thing is,
something?
what people. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
I'm so sorry. No, like the thing you just said about keeping it pure, I'm not gonna lie, when I was like 13, 14, and this is all learned through our culture, like it's no excuse. I was also like one of those people who were like, yeah, like if you don't marry somebody in your own culture, you're ruining your bloodline. Like, and that was really what we're like thought.
Mhm.
Like it's really like a yeah, like you're not pure. It's not like you're not pure. It's like you're ruining your bloodline. Like that's just how it is. And now that I think about it, that's such a crazy thing to like just say as a kid, bro. Like, oh my God.
It is so, 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 so crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I low-key lost my train of thought, so if anybody else could pick up before.
wait, I do kind of want to talk about how like I do watch Bete Bete and I understand like that whole show. Like I'm not gonna lie, like. I like mom like which one Miriam saw like what she did with her kids like I'm not gonna like if your kids generally love somebody why do you not want to see your kids happy like why is it that like simply oh because they're not Fulani they're not Zan the third they're not from the same tribe as you like
Mhm.
you do anything in your will to like bash it it's like it's kind of embarrassing but I don't know if y'all watched it but like Sasha mom too she's a Fulani as well like she would did not let her daughter
So
marry a jelly simply because he was
yeah.
not Fulani like to me
Mhm.
that's insane that's literally insane like
It was more so because, Senegal, that's what we're mainly known for a lot of like the whole caste system ideology and everything like that. But I do remember my train of thought from earlier. What it is that I wanted to say was that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, he married women from different tribes and encouraged breaking those tribal barriers through marriage. So the fact that our beloved Prophet has done it is like, why is it still a problem in our own cultures? And I think you touched on it earlier, Fatima, is the whole idea of purity, keeping this bloodline pure, keeping the honor within bloodlines. Because in Bete Bete, it does showcase how in Senegal we have like a ranking between the Girs, the Gewes, the Tug. I don't think Tug is not the acceptable term for it. Um, it's like a derogatory term. But it's dumb and it's not coming to mind, but it's basically this whole idea that comes from like literally all the way back when where there were kings and queens in Senegal, and this is just the ranking of the kings, the queens, the nobles, the the jewelry makers, the people that sing to the kings and the queens, and the fact that nowadays the reason why like it's something that is still enforced, and this whole idea of like Lua said that you're not supposed to mix with this culture because you're gonna have problematic children. For us, the idea is that when two different people from two different caste systems mix and have a children, it brings a problem for said actual child, which we could also see in Bete Bete. The whole idea where I'm so bad with remembering characters, but basically, um, what's his name? Something Sal, his daughter, the fact that she's Juma Cham. Okay, Juma Cham. The fact that Juma Cham is her true name is Juma Sal because she's the daughter of a Gir, so a nobleman, and a Tugg, who is somebody who's a jewelry maker. The fact that she's having problems with getting married to um Husha, which is the man she wants to marry, who Husha, we finally know that he's also a mixed, but he's also good. His last name is Jai, so he's good. He's a noble, and so this idea of like, oh, a woman that is born and has two different caste systems, for her to get married, it becomes a problem. They think about that aspect of it becoming a problem in the future when they want to have kids and stuff like that, which is so problematic. And a lot of it just boils down to wanting to keep things in the family, wanting to yes, Alkali. That's what I was so Alkali's daughter. Um, just just all of these toxic mindsets that we really need to boil down. Fear Allah. Do you really fear Allah by saying that your blood is better than somebody else's blood? Like, I could go on for days, but pick up someone.
Wait, I just wanted to quickly just remind us of like this verse in the Quran, if you guys don't mind me reading it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the ayah is from Surah Rum, and it's ayah 21, and Allah says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُّوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And one of his signs is that he created for you spouses from among yourselves so that you may find comfort in them. And he has placed between you compassion and mercy. Surely in this are signs of people who reflect. And another ayah is from Surah Hujurat, where Allah says, O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you peoples that tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and acquainted.
Yes, literally, I was gonna say that.
Like you cleared.
Mashallah,
You
mashallah.
cleared. No,
And
like Allahumma barik, first of all.
the conversation with those recitations, because mashallah, Allahumma
No, like
barik.
you ate that, yeah. And I'm so glad you recited those because like Allah doesn't see your tribe. He doesn't see, oh, you're this, you're that. He doesn't see your quote unquote pure bloodline. Allah sees you as you. You are an individual. You're his creation. You are his slave. It does not matter where you come from on this earth. Like we're all equal, first of all, in value especially. Men and women. We're all being held by the same things. And like we said before, it's sunnah to marry outside of your race. So I really just don't understand how people can sit here and think that their bloodline is better than someone else's or they have more power. Or even with the last names too. There's certain last names that can't marry other last names. Like, first of all, who are you? Like, no
From the
shade.
Yeah, I know in Mali, like, like, Jellies can only marry Just like, if you're a Jabate, you can only marry a Koyate or a Jabate. In Mali, especially, especially, let's talk about Sonikes. I don't know I know in Gambia they have it as well, but I know Sonikes, and even in, like, I'm not gonna even Bambaras, we all have like a caste system where, like, if you're either a Horon or either a Numu, they can get married to each other. And like, Loki, my last name is Kante, and, like, that last name is, in Mali, is, like, it's known to be a Numu name, but I'm not a Numu, I'm a Horon. But like for some when people hear my name, they would look at me like disgust. They'll be like, "Oh, girl, like you can't braid my hair. You can't design a third. Like, come on, that's not Islam. You telling me like you're not treating me as equal simply because of my last name, because of my caste? It doesn't make sense to me, you know?"
Yeah, same thing. In Senegal, we have this saying like "Sant de Kulfen," which means the last name doesn't live anywhere because of the same thing. Like, I mean, my last name is Jara, and but I'm not too connected with my Malian side, but I know that Jara is like a noble last name. Um, but alhamdulillah, like my parents, alhamdulillah, they don't really perpetuate that mindset of like, oh, you cannot marry this person, you cannot marry that person. But that's not the case for everyone else. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, girl, Jada is it is a noble name. And that's another thing about it. Like Jada and Mali, like they make that name like the biggest of the biggest. Like that's like the most like honorable name there. But it's like, come on, like based on our last name, you're telling me like you're like we're all equals in Allah, as like Amelia said. At the end of the day, Allah looks at us like just like all his slaves. At the end of the day, the most honorable amongst you is the sight of Allah is one of the most taqwa. So I feel like if we're literally putting each other based on our last name, based on what caste, and on top of that, like I know stories of girls who are not able to marry the one who they truly love the most simply because of their caste system, and it's
but
so
it,
sad and it's discouraging because like you're doing it simply because you want to keep your bloodline pure. And
yeah,
like I have a bunch of Sonic friends that they do talk about how like they're not gonna practice that among their kids, is that and the third, but it's like
it's
I
hard though.
yeah, it's hard because I see some of them get offended. They be like, "Oh no, I'm a hold on, this not a thing." But like, you getting offended because somebody's calling you a numo or hold on, that's also you, in some way somehow still practicing it. Because why do you feel offended? At the end of
Hmm.
the day, you shouldn't feel offended because at the end of the day, we're all Muslim at the end of the day. That's
And
how I
then
kind of feel about it.
let's really talk about the impacts that it really has on marriage today. How what do you see how these problems, it just perpetuates more problems. The more zina that there is, the delay in people getting married, like God-fearing people, people with taqwa, people with who fear Allah are being rejected only because of their last name or their deen. The sisters are pressured to getting married to some cousin, some distant family member, or somebody from the right tribe over somebody that's compatible with them in deen for the sake of culture. You want me to marry somebody who doesn't really practice the way that I want to practice, prioritizes other things over the deen. because of the name of for the name of culture, women are literally being put in situations where they are tortured through their marriages for the sake of keeping culture. And it literally like it's just a whole bunch that you could talk about. It takes a huge emotional toll. Like it builds deep resentment, heartbreak, the delay, like I said, delay in marriage, and some people even like subhanallah, like leaving the deen completely because of this whole problem of them not being able to marry who they love, or getting married and having like extramarital relationships because of what, for the sake of thing. And even this whole idea of polygamy, I know, like for the men's side, a lot of it sometimes has to do with the idea where they are told by their families that they have to marry, somebody from their tribe or somebody from their family first before they marry the one that they love. And that's what leads to them, getting married to somebody from the family first, or getting married to just to please their family, and not because they actually want to be in that situation. And then they end up, mistreating the first wife and getting a second wife, because after the first wife, they don't really care who you marry after that, as long as you fulfilled your rights for the family. Like it's crazy. It's so crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched that because to me, like sometimes I think about it, I'm like, wow, so like these parents can have a daughter who met a guy who's just not within the same, like he's not from the same country as them, but he literally checks out all the boxes that a husband's supposed to
He's on
have.
Deen, religious. He has a good
Everything,
paying job, everything. But
everything.
if he's
But if
if
he's
it's
not,
not,
then it's
yeah.
no. Like they'd rather set up the woman with her second cousin or just someone. Oh, look, like yeah, my family friend knows this guy, blah blah blah. And the whole time he's lazy, he's a bum, he's barely on Dean. Could abuse her, like etc. Doesn't provide for her. And y'all want your daughter with a man like that just to keep the bloodline pure. But when she meets a guy who literally checks out all the boxes of what a Muslim man should have, it's no, just because he's not from the same country. To me, that's insane because you like I can't emphasize this enough. This is half of your deen. This is someone you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with, and you're literally as like parents trying to peer pressure your daughter to marry a man that you know is just not good for her, but you just want it because oh yeah, well he's the same tribe, he's the same within the same race or whatever. Marry him. What? Does anybody want to say anything? It just got
My
mad
answer
quiet.
cleared. No, because you cleared. You had us thinking, girl. Like you cleared,
My
OD.
Yeah.
bad.
You said everything. Honestly, like this is a topic that we could really go on and on for days, because it has really led to so much detriment in our society. Like so many, so many.
And also when it comes to like even like casteism, you can also bring out colorism. I feel like a lot of our tribes as well, like I don't want to like point out any like tribes in specific, but like colorism is such an important thing as well. Like and also if you're same thing with keeping like the bloodline pure, they want to keep their bloodline light or either a certain color. So it's another thing as well. But also I feel like Islam destroys caste and like tribal superiority. Like Islam, I feel like we also need to talk about Bilal. May Allah be pleased with him. He was formerly enslaved, but he was also a dark man, and also he was put on the same platform as white skinned, tan skinned, wealthy Arabs, and not because of his lineage, but because of his taqwa. So I feel like also you're denying your daughter to marry this person. Checks all the boxes that you want. You will want your daughter to marry simply because of his color, simply because of the tribe, simply what country he comes from. Like it's just not only is it racist, but it's just honestly disgusting and it's inhumane. That's just how I see
That
it.
disgusting, literally.
It's dehumanizing.
No shade.
I literally say like the day of judgment is gonna be very long if we're gonna go talk about everything that people have been put through because of things that are so impermissible, things that have caused people to place like literally everyone who has placed a cultural ideology over the deen on Yomul Qiyamah, when we're standing before Allah, are gonna be speechless. Because then what is it that you're gonna say? How many people are you gonna have to ask forgiveness from? How many bloodlines, generations of people that you put through because of this whole ideology of, oh, this skin color is better than this skin color. And it just all boils down to like those racist ideologies of how white is purity and black is dirt. And those are also like colonial like ideologies, in a sense where, you know, slaves that were lighter skinned were treated better than slaves that were darker skinned. It's something that runs, like racism runs very, very, very deep.
Okay, and we have two more topics left. So the next topic will be Eid being treated as a cultural holiday. And I feel like the focus becomes like more like I feel like now Eid has become like a fashion competition, you know? Like I feel like it's more becoming like a competition based on clothing, photo shoots, food, while like some people don't even go to Eid prayers. So like yeah, now
You clocked.
we could talk about that now, whoever is ready.
Oh my God, I have a very personal connection with this topic because like if it's gotten to the point where I didn't want to go to eat anymore because like I didn't feel the connection to my Deen going to the masjid. Because like when I went to the masjid, it didn't feel like okay, I'm here to celebrate fasting for 30 days. So like last Eid, I didn't go with my family. I went to a whole nother masjid. And that was like the first Eid where I felt like, okay, I understand what Eid meant. Like I was like in prayer, connecting, and it was so special to me. Like sometimes you do have to take that step back and like separate yourself from your family, separate yourself from this culture that's not right to you. If it doesn't feel right, don't follow along with it. So me going to that one Eid prayer by myself made me realize, okay, this is what Eid prayer is about, and it's not about wearing the makeup and like not doing your wudu just because you want to keep your makeup. Even if you break your wudu, you know you can't pray just because you prayed and you farted. We know you farted. You got your makeup on. You don't want to go wipe your face. You don't want to do Eid prayer. Like we know that that's like literally what's going on. Like you can't lie to us. We all human. We know what happens when you have your makeup on and things happen. You don't want to do what do to break it because you paid mad money for it. Eid has become something where you have to take pictures. Like, what about celebrating the fact that we just fasted 30 freaking days and there's people in other countries that don't even get to celebrate because they're going through such crisis. Like if we talk about Gaza, we could talk about how their Ramadan was terrible because they're going through a whole war. They still fasted with no food, no drinks or whatever. They should be the ones celebrating. But at the end of the day, we're not even thinking about that. We're only thinking about ourselves and our selfish behaviors. And that's something like humans have in them. And it's so unempathetic.
No, you cleared, first of
Clock
all.
it.
Also, free Palestine, like always. But you, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so I remember, even till now, I still see a few, like, women, they get their hair, like, their hair, nails done, everything, a few days before Ramadan even ends. And sometimes they're not even menstruating either. So in my head, I'm like, wait, so how do you like how have you been praying your last prayers like within the last few days? And then how do you go to Eid prayer and then pray that whole day as well when you literally have acrylics on, makeup, lashes, hair. And mind you, I'm not judging. Like honestly, if that's how you want to do it, do it. But like no shade for Eid though.
And not even that. Also, like I spent several Eids in Africa. No shade. Like the couple days before Eid, you will see girls with meshi on their hair already, and it's just like, girlie, do you know we still have like 2 more days to fast? We still have this, that, and a third left to do. So it's like, even now, like, why do we feel like we need to take off our hijabs and stuff like that and be and modest just to be cute?
Look good. Like you
Like,
beautiful
You
with
at the
the hijab.
masjid, girl.
and like even
Just
with that whole buzzing controversy on like I'm not gonna lie, you can make buzzing modest. I don't care what nobody says. So that's like, what I kind of feel like when the girlies are like arguing is down the third one, you're wearing an modest buzzing, you know it's immodest. It has nothing to do with like they're not bashing your culture, they're bashing what you're wearing. Because you can literally have a buzzing and it could be modest and you can still look good and you can still pray in it. Make sure when you're taking your pictures to that tailor, make sure you're modest, you can pray in it.
clock it.
Don't just come to eat prayer with a regular abide and have the idea, oh, I'm gonna take pics of my wig on and my tie abide after, and my tie buzzing after. Then the day was haram is haram. That's not modest isn't modest. You can't change that.
Like, why are you wearing a BBL effect bazin for Eid, bro? You're celebrating Ramadan. Like, oh my, like you said, Nunu, you just fasted 30 whole
30.
days. You created good habits for yourself. You kept reading the Quran. You prayed all of your prayers. You probably went above and beyond. And then now you're over here celebrating with like no hijab on, you take it off, this and that. But why though? The whole point of Ramadan is to be better after
And
Ramadan. Like you pick up good habits. You
literally,
even
mhm.
if it's your first time wearing the hijab, if you've done it for 30 days, the very least, wear it on Eid. Eid is the celebration of Ramadan. The whole point of Ramadan is to learn from what you did during that month and take it with you and continue doing it. So why is it that when Eid comes, you think that's the day where you can just, oh, phew, finally I can stop doing this and stop doing that. It should never stop.
The whole concept of Eid now and the way it's celebrated is all because of social perception and the results of, overconsumption and the media and everything that has to do with how people will perceive you. That's literally what it is. The fact that you are spending your time during Ramadan breaking old habits, not listening to music, not engaging in things that will diminish the reward of your fast and then wait until Eid to film a music video. I'm sorry, I'm throwing shade.
Yeah, I seen that. Like what?
Yeah.
Like what?
Literally in their buzzens too. Like,
Literally in your business. Like what are you what are you gaining
Yo,
from that? Like
I first of all, I didn't even expect you to say that, but the fact is
No, that needed to be clogged. That needed.
because
I
what are
needed
you
to plug that because
doing?
literally it's like what was the point of everything? What did you learn from Ramadan? What did you learn from standing in the long nights of Tarawih? What did you learn from standing in Qiyam prayer? Like what did you learn? And especially for the whole like, preparing for Eid, getting your hair done, your weave, like your wig laid, getting your nails done, acrylics. Are you not thinking about the reward of your prayer, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan? The last 10 days in which everything is heightened. So as much as your barakah is heightened, your sins are heightened as well. So people don't really like, clock that and going to Eid prayer and just going for the sake of, oh, I'm gonna see who's wearing what, or for the sake of, trying to see like, which brother look good, this, then a third. And I get it, everybody wanna get married. It's marriage epidemic out here. But really renew your intentions. Eid is a day, yes, we are supposed to wear our best clothes. Yes, we're supposed to look and dress well, but also in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people didn't even make it to Eid day, yet you are here celebrating this, that, and the third. What if you went, and I know Nunu, you said this in the chat, but what if you died like that? Like I feel like a lot of people don't ask themselves that question of, or would you be satisfied with the way that you look on Eid if you died that day? If you died with acrylics on your fingers and the people who are trying to wash you cannot even wash you correctly because the acrylics are not coming off. Like if you died wearing these big diamond gold chains, like that are not gonna go if you when like things that you as a man you shouldn't be wearing, you shouldn't be indulging in. Eid is not for that. Eid is for remembrance of Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and following the Prophet's sunnah. That's what it's for. And I think people need to remember that. That doesn't also mean, like I said, like we've been saying in the conversation, that doesn't mean diminish your traditions or cultures, because obviously like we're gonna eat well. We're gonna eat well. Like food was not a negotiable here. But remembering that remembering why we're celebrating this day. And that goes for Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Both Eids.
And I agree with you 100%. I think this all goes back to our culture and like our parents. It's the way they showed us what Eid was growing up. If they had shown us, like, for example, many children nowadays, like, they see other kids celebrating Christmas, getting gifts. Like, parents that are not Muslim, they make like holidays so special for the kids. And other kids that are growing up Muslim kids, they're looking at this kid and they're like, oh my God, look how they're celebrating. If I trust me, if you decorate your house during Eid, and you decorate your house during Ramadan, make it so special for your kids. They're gonna want to learn about Islam. They're gonna want to learn more about the Deen. And it's all social media at the end of the day, just trying to impress this, trying to impress that. But at the end of the day, like you said, if you die wearing that, like, are you gonna be happy? How many kids have we seen die our age? How many people have we seen die before like they even reach the age of 5? How many kids have we seen die at the age of 25? Like, we have to think about death. Like, it's a constant reminder of us. People are not just dying back and forth just because they have to go. Like, no, they're dying, and it's a reminder for us. Like, how many times do you go on social media and sometimes you just see this person dying, you're like, subhanallah, she's like 16. How did she just die? Yep, she's 16, and that could be you. You could die no matter what time, what day. So every time you think like about wearing a wig, nails, doing this and that, just please think about how you're gonna die. And if that's the place you want to die at, that's what you want to wear while dying. If that's what you want to be saying, doing while you die, and just think about that before you do anything.
I totally agree. I also feel like it's also a kind of a stigma as well. We feel like in Africa we have to like put our biggest outfits, our like do our big one for Eid. But I feel like we also need to sit back and look at the sunnahs of Eid day and what. And I feel like also I see a lot of people saying Eid is not lit no more. But I feel like that's not idea. Like Eid is not to be lit. Eid is to celebrate. We only have as a Muslim, we only have 2 holidays, and I feel like for us to say like, oh, Eid is not lit no more, I feel like that's disrespectful. And I feel like also we need to learn the true meaning of what Eid actually is before we sit back and say like, oh my God, it's not lit no more, it's not the third. Like a lot of people are saying, like, oh, we just get cute and we go back home. But like, half of y'all just putting on tight wigs, tight and bazins, is that tight bazins is not that's not even modest, and that's it.
And
And
it Oh, I'm so sorry.
You go, girl.
Oh, I was gonna say it's sad too because if you don't get the good like the pictures that you want, your whole day is ruined. Oh, Eid was trash. Eid was this. Eid was that. Just because you didn't get pictures, bro.
Like that's Eid for y'all? Like, come on, that's not
That's
Eid.
crazy. And honestly, I feel like to me, the best part about Eid is like house hopping, like giving each other like the gifts, the food, seeing your family for a little bit, going to the next house, celebrating with your family, wearing. Because I'm not gonna lie, you still have to look your best. That's one thing about Eid. Wear a good, like wear your best outfit, but a modest one. You know what I mean? And smell good as well. Go to prayers, talk to people, be around your family. You know what I'm saying?
Be
But do
social.
it appropriately. That to me is lit. So that's why I'm like, what's your definition of lit if Eid wasn't lit to you? Because not gonna lie, being able to like house hop, eat food together, eat like, the parents give you money and all that stuff, like the gifts or whatever, that's a beautiful holiday. So what's your definition of lit? Oh, because you didn't good pictures and that's it? Please.
Literally.
Vlog.
Clocked it. Clocked it. Like honestly, like even when it comes to like wearing your best clothes, I get it, wear your best clothes, but you out here spending like hundreds and thousands and dollars of clothes that you're gonna wear one time and then not wear it again. Rewear your clothes. I don't really like this idea of like, not, having to have something new each time. Imagine spending like 200 to 400 to 600 to $1,000 on an outfit and you say you're not gonna wear it again because you wore it once. No, wear it again. Wear it to somebody's wedding. Like it's no problem to like don't this whole idea of like outfit repeating, bro. It's a nice outfit. It's a beautiful outfit. Wear it again. New wearing your best clothes doesn't necessarily mean new clothes.
That's
Every
exactly like stop putting yourself in debt just to look good for one day, bro. Because that's the thing, you put the idea in your head that everyone actually cares about what you're wearing, how you look. I promise you, no one cares. It's all in your head. You're the only one who cares that much. And keep
no,
in mind, like people aren't even gonna remember what you wore within the next month or two. You're gonna have to remind folks, oh yeah, this is what I wore, this isn't that. Whole time we really don't care. Like, I'm sorry, but we don't care.
I agree so much, and I think this is why it's so hard for some girls to wear the hijab because they care about what other people think so much. But at the end of the day, think about yourself. Think about the akira. Think about like how pleased Allah will be with you. Think about the Prophet, peace be upon him, remembering you at the day of judgment as somebody that walked around with the hijab on their head. Don't think about so and so is posting on Instagram without her hijab on. She looks mad tea. Okay, but when you put the hijab on, you're gonna look mad tea too. Like you're gonna look way better. And I think that goes like into like you guys said something that really resonated with me, and it's like the whole alpha repeating thing is something that we saw our parents doing. It's like, oh, if this person doesn't do it, this auntie is gonna judge, this auntie is gonna judge. So like they feel the like it's like habits that they picked up from parents and things like that. And I feel like so we have no excuse nowadays to not want to learn about Islam and not want to do better because we have the platforms, we have the social media. Like if you're really choosing not to learn as like okay, you didn't learn why the hijab was important, but guess what? You have social media to go search that up to educate yourself. And as long as you make the intention in your heart, Allah is gonna make it so much easier for you. It's just all up to you to make that step of wanting to learn and wanting to change.
Yeah, you guys made excellent, excellent points. So now we're gonna transition to the last topic of today, which I'm personally not too familiar with this topic, but I know this does go on in Mali as well. So the next topic will be basically female genital mutilation, when they basically um what is it called? Like they do basically procedures to alter the private parts of women for whatever reason. So you guys can talk about that.
I'm also not too familiar on it because it's not something that's widely practiced in Senegal like that, but I know it still goes on in some of the rural regions. But what I do know about FGM is that um they do a procedure where they cut off the clitoris area. There's different degrees of it, but it's basically to
Yeah,
perpetuate
yeah,
this
you
idea
got it.
that women are not supposed to like feel pleasure, and that the idea of like feeling pleasure is displeasing. It's forbidden. And so what they do is that they sew up every like the holes where it's only one hole that which is your pee, where you pee from. And it causes so many problems that when people want to give birth, when women are giving birth, now it creates a whole new wound. It's so problematic. And it just perpetuates this idea, this, I want to say, like West African like mindset, not just West Africa, 'cause I know this also happens in East Africa and other African countries as well. But just this idea of women suffering for the sake, or women diminishing themselves for the sake of culture, women having to go through things for the sake of what, patience or munyal or munyugol or however, because there's a lot of things that people talk about. But this is something that is actively being abolished, like even in a political sense. A lot of governments are abolishing it, saying that it's completely outlawed, illegal to do this ritual. But a lot of our older like people, parents and grandmothers and great grandmothers who've been through it are, obviously big advocates for it, talking about how another thing about a woman's honor, it protects the woman, this, that, and the third, which, yes, very toxic.
Um, I don't know a lot about this topic as well, but I did do a club in fifth grade where it was like Girl Rising or something, and we read this story about a girl that it was done to her. I think she was Afghan, but she ran away from home. But like she did suffer a lot in her life after that because when it came to like giving birth and stuff like that, she had a lot of struggles. And I know that Islam doesn't allow us to do anything that's harmful to the body, so that's something that's very, very haram. And I think it's very sad to just see girls go through that because at the end of the day, mothers still have to watch their kids go through it. They don't say anything because our mothers learn to be silent and not express what they want to say because that's what they grew up like seeing. It's all generation. And at the end of at the end of the day, I know that there's a lot of things like Abibatou said that are being done to change this, and it still happens in secret. It's not like it's abolished.
Yeah, and I think there's this documentary or like movie that I remember watching on this. It's called, I think, the girl from Mogadishu, and I think this is more so from an East African perspective, where this girl, she basically, and it's based on a true story. She became an advocate for women that are going through FGM, and basically, was the reason why it became outlawed in her country. I can't remember exactly which East African country it was, um, but I know it was in East Africa, and it just, like I said, and it all boils down to the idea of that the suppression of the woman in general is something that has been outlooked as something that should be done in our society, because women shouldn't have pleasure, women shouldn't be heard, women shouldn't be, women should just suffer in a sense, and that suffering is looked as something that a woman can go through to gain honor, which I never agreed with.
I agree heavily, and I also feel like it's also plays, and I feel like it also plays a part of like women bodies and like just giving them and like treating them as like property. Like I feel like altering the woman body, like something like God gave to us for a reason. God gave us a clitoris for a reason. So like no shit, like if you're cutting it for whatever reason. I know certain people, I know several people who had like those procedures done to them, and even now to this day, it's so hard for them. They're married now, grown with kids. It's sometimes even hard for them to even like have kids. Sometimes hard to even like to have pleasure in their marriage. Is that and a third, and it's like all this. And I even to this day, like I genuinely don't understand why it happened. I do know in Mali it happens, but it's not really more common in the city, more so in the village. I know like a lot of village people they do stuff like that.
And it's
Yeah.
also, again, it's also sunnah for a husband to like pleasure his wife.
That's another.
So yeah, that's
You're not ready for that convo
yeah,
though.
they're not ready for that comment. So that's why I'm like,
They're
I
not.
can't believe something like this actually exists culturally and in Muslim countries at that. This
I
is why
think
I'm saying a lot of these things that we touch base on, especially when it comes down to like things that have to do with our bodies, it's just so misogynistic because why is it only targeted towards the woman? You know what I
yeah.
mean? First of all, even bro, men are known to be lustful. So I'm just like, and like they're one of their biggest temptations in this dunya is women. Like men
Period.
are lustful. So why are we the ones who have to go through this suffering of like cutting off like the clitoris or the white sheet, this and that? Why aren't you worried about men?
I feel like a lot of these things were put in place to kind of help with the comfort of men through their lust. You know what I'm saying? Like the woman has to change the way that she does things for the sake of the man, not, succumbing to his lust of. So it just comes down to the woman having to change the way that she goes about the things that she does, just to conform to the fact that the man, can't control themselves, which is very, very, very sick.
Mind you, Islam doesn't even agree with any of this. Islam believes in equal rights of men and women, and we are all sinful at the end of the day.
Thank
So
you.
why
Thank
do women
you.
suffer? Why do women have to suffer and go through all of this when the like in reality it's also men? It should be 50-50. Whatever beliefs that we have for women should be the same beliefs we have for men. Like it's all culture at the end of the day.
Yep, it's all culture. And the fact that this happens in the like Fatima was saying that it happens in the villages and stuff like that. A lot of these villages and these rural areas of our countries are also places that haven't truly been indoctrined into the Deen fully. So a lot of them kind of keep to those traditional cultures, which, unless having that guidance, or even when they do have that guidance, it's not something that's widely changed. So if one person does it and another person doesn't, or the majority doesn't, it's really hard to change, unfortunately. So that's why it's more so popular, exactly, ignorance. So it's more so popular in the villages and the rural areas rather than the city, where there's more regulation towards people like that. Because even if they outlaw in the city and it becomes illegal in the city and you will get persecuted in the city, what happens in the village tends to stay in the village. They don't believe in persecution or law or things like that.
And another thing I also want to touch on, a lot of these villages don't even have like like medical, like sterile medical equipment. So it's like y'all really are putting these girls at risk. And I know a lot of people also die from this as well. You putting these girls at risk, like, not only for infection, but also death simply for like these nonsense procedures. Like, you know?
The procedures that are not done correctly, like not under the proper anesthetics and anesthesia that they need to use and stuff like that. It's people, they literally take what's it called? I don't even know the name in English, but in Wolof we call it the lancet, which is like, the thing. It's like a sharp thing that they use to cut. Um, like it's not a knife, but it's or scissors. It's another thing. The name of it is not coming to my mind. Um, but they use that to cut people, and then they use ice to numb them, like, or other herbs to try to numb the area. It's crazy. Or I think what I'm trying to say is a razor blade. The razor blade.
Wow, subhanallah. This, oh my God. First of all, you guys touched up on everything. Even throughout this entire episode, I thought
Everything and more, like stuff we didn't even put on. I feel like we touched on it. Like,
this was an amazing episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us as well. Like, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you guys so much. This episode
Thank
was so educational because there's a lot of things, like, as y'all know, I'm not West African, so you guys definitely educated me on a lot, and I really do appreciate that. And this
you.
episode is also very fun
it
too.
was really fun. And for our
Yes.
listeners, oh, do you want to talk?
No, I was saying yes, I really loved this episode. Like this was such an important topic to that we've had to talk about. And I remember having this conversation with my friends a lot because we talk about the problems in our culture. And I really love that we're doing it on a platform that everyone can really hear and really resonate with the things that we said.
And I just like the fact that like even as young as we are, we're realizing like the faults in our culture and the stuff that are wrong, and like be able to talk about it in a safe space. I feel like a lot of these, like you said before earlier in the podcast, like a lot of like our older generation people, like they know it's straight, they know it's haram, but they just don't speak on it because of societal pressure. So I'm glad that we have a safe space where we can talk about it. You know.
It's a fact. That's a fact. But yeah, we're gonna end the episode off here. If you guys have anything else to say, you can say it now.
I just want to say to our guests, thank you so much for your honesty, for like your courage, and like just showing us today what it really meant to like love your people, love your culture, love who you are. We'll be able to understand like the right line between deen and culture.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for having us. I really love this episode too. I really like to talk about the Dean. It's not really seen in the West African community, so this is very something special to me.
Of
Very
course.
honestly, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place barakah in all that it is that you guys have set out to do and allow you guys
I
to reach the
mean,
most that it tops whatever you imagine. May Allah subhanahu wa
Um,
ta'ala forgive us for anything that we said that was wrong and elevate us only in his eyes and in his ranks for the things that we said that was right.
Ameen.
now that's the end. So I guess Amelia, you want to go? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Salam
Assalamu alaikum,
alaikum,
Barakah babes.
babes.